zeros of polynomials with factoring. Okay, so the last one, zeros without factoring. This time we just have to do an extra step. We have to factor first, and then once we are factored, we can find our zeros. So this first question, we want to find the zeros of this polynomial. P of x is equal to x plus 2 times 2x squared plus 3x minus 9. So, if you remember from the last lesson, we can look at this one right here and set x plus 2 to equal 0. And we do, we get x is equal to negative 2. So 1 0 is at negative 2. The other one, we have to set 2x squared plus 3x minus 9 to equal 0. And I have that written down right here. Oh, where's it go? It's thinking. Okay, so here we go. So we already have our negative 2 for that one. We got to figure out what our zeros are from here. Because it's squared, there's going to be 2 zeros in here. We're going to go straight into our cross method. So a times c is negative 18, and our b is positive 3. So what numbers multiply to negative 18 and get to 3? Well, if we have negative 3, positive 6, we get negative 18, we multiply, and then we add them together, we get positive 3. So negative 3x and positive 6x. So from here, it's the reverse box method. This first box right here, we put the 2x squared in. Over here is a negative 9, and then negative 3x and positive 6x. Okay, so starting right here, what can we factor out? Well, all we can factor out is an x. Then x times what is 2x squared? 2x. 2x times what is 6x? 3. 3 times what is negative 9? That's negative 3. And we can finally check negative 3 times x is negative 3x. So we're all good. So, two new binomials are 2x minus 3 and x plus 3. If we set this one to equal 0, or both of them to equal 0, this will be negative 3. And then this one is going to be 2x minus 3 equals 0. We add 3 to both sides. We get 2x equals 3, and then divide by 2. So we get x is equal to 3 halves. So negative 3 and 3 halves, or 1.5. So 1.5 is there, and negative 3 is here. Next question. All right, so we have 3x cubed minus 3x squared minus 18x. First thing you should be able to recognize right away is that we can factor out an x in all of these things. And a 3, actually, now I think about it. So we can pull a 3x out. What's left over? X squared minus x minus 6. 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. 3x times negative x is negative 3x squared. And 3x times negative 6 is negative 18x. Now we got to factor this. You're going to do the diamond method. I'm not going to go into detail of that anymore because you should be able to know how to do that. If not, you got to go back to another lesson. We should get x minus 3x plus 2 with our 3x out front. Remember, this is something we've been doing for a while. So if you can't do this, this assignment is not for you yet. You have to go back and practice more factoring. And so this 0 will be positive 3. That one will be negative 2. And 3x equals 0. Well, if you were to set that to equal 0, like so, you divide both sides by 3. And you get x is equal to 0 over 3, or just 0. So whenever you have an x out by itself, outside in front, the 0 is always going to be at 0, or the origin. Okay? So the origin is here. That's the first one. And then we have a positive 3 and a negative 2. So positive 3, negative 2. Okay, question 3. Once again, if you can factor, this is very easy. If you cannot factor, this is very hard. Okay, so we have x squared minus 1 and x squared minus 5x plus 6. So we're going to have 4 answers here. Every x that we have basically is like x squared. So x squared here is 2 solutions in here. And x squared minus 5x plus 6. There are 2 solutions in here. So we'll have 4 solutions. The first one, this is the difference of 2 squares. So we should get x plus 1, x minus 1. And then the back side, how can we factor this to get positive 6 and negative 5? Well, it's going to be negative 3 and negative 2. So we have a 0 at negative 1, a 0 at 1, a 0 at positive 3, sorry, and a 0 at positive 2. Put the positive out front just to make it clear. So negative 1, positive 3, positive 2. Negative 1, positive 3, and positive 2. All right, last question. Okay, so we have 4 terms here. Remember when you have 4 terms? You should probably check to see if you can do factoring by grouping. Okay, I will review that right now. So if you forgot what that is, I will teach you right now. Okay, so first thing you want to do is see if you can factor out anything out of all these terms. Okay, there's not an x in all of them. There's no x here. And we cannot pull a 2 out of a 5, and we can't pull a 5 out of 2. So there's nothing we can factor out. There's no greatest common factor out of all of these. So then the next step we want to do is factor out what we can out of the first 2 terms only. We can pull an x squared out of that one. Oops, did that wrong. So x squared times what? So x squared times 2x, x squared times 5. And then we have, what can we factor out of here? All I see is a negative 1. So we're going to have 2x plus 5. Now these are the same, which is by design. So we have x squared minus 1 all times 2x plus 5. This, once again, is the difference of 2 squares. So we're going to get x plus 1, x minus 1. This one is just going to be rewritten again. Nothing else to factor out of there. So now our zeros are negative 1, positive, and this would be negative 5 halves. Okay, because you subtract 0, so set to 0, you subtract 5 from both sides, we get negative 5 is equal to 2x, and then we divide by 2, which x equals negative 5 halves. So negative 1, positive 1, and negative 5 halves, which negative 5 halves is negative 2.5. And we are done.